Hey, it's Andre. Some of you may have caught my rant yesterday about what's falsetto. Um, Today, I'm happy to say, at least for me, there is another rant. Today's rant is about the use of the term alto. Um, what does that mean? Um, exactly, because again, blatant lack of knowledge about what an alto is. Okay? Um, a little backstory for those of you who don't know. Um, in singing, um, all the big um, operatic schools of music, um, there are labels for individuals' vocal types. Okay? Um, in the operatic school of music, there are, for men, there are basses, baritones, tenors, and countertenors. Um, yeah, although countertenors are, they're a little controversial. Some people refer to them as male sopranos. Um, so there's a little like controversy about that. That soprano should only be applied to women. Um, for women in the operatic schools of music, uh, there are contraltos, mezzo sopranos, and sopranos. Okay, those are just the big ones, the big vocal type labels. Okay, there's other applications, other labels that are in those schools of music, such as lyric voices, dramatic voices, spinto voices, voices, coloratura. Um, there's a lot of different labels, but those are the main ones we're talking about because those are the ones that affect the term alto. Alto, however, is not from the operatic school of singing and the way that they teach and label voices in that school. That is from the American choral school of music. So it has to do with how choruses put together voices and label voices. In the choral school, voices for men are split into basses and tenors, and women's voices are split into altos and sopranos. And the way that that works is from top to bottom, it's first soprano, second soprano, first alto, second alto, first tenor, second tenor, first bass, second bass. Okay? Now, what does that have to do with the operatic school of music? That has to do with the fact that altos, first altos, and second altos, first altos are normally low mezzo sopranos. Second altos are normally contraltos. Um, so an alto, regardless of whether they're first alto, or second alto, they can be either a mezzo soprano or a contralto. So if you hear somebody, for example, Toni Braxton, who is a famous contralto, and you say, "Oh, she's definitely an alto." That's true. She is an alto. Contraltos fall under the category of altos. Now there's other singers such as Adele that people will say, "Oh, she's an alto." Adele is a mezzo soprano. In my opinion, she's has a very good top part of her range and actually sounds really nice and vocally in that part of her range, which she uses quite often. I would put her actually as a second soprano, because mezzo sopranos can be either a second soprano or a first alto, normally in a chorus. Yeah. So the point of that is altos are mezzo sopranos and contraltos. Okay? They're not mutually exclusive. It's not saying that, oh, if you're an alto, you can't be a contralto. If you're an alto, you can't be a mezzo soprano. That's not how it works. If you're a contralto, you can't be a mezzo soprano because they are within the same category and school of labeling voices. So you can only be one of those. As far as the other school, you can either be a soprano, a first or second soprano, or you can be a first or second alto. You can't be, oh, I'm a first soprano and I'm also a second alto. That doesn't work like that. You can be a first soprano and a soprano in the operatic school, but yeah. So you guys kind of get what I'm getting at there. An alto is either a mezzo soprano or a contralto. That's what an alto is. Okay? Yes, and please remember that voice type or vocal type has nothing to do with your vocal range. It doesn't. You can have a huge vocal range of 4 octaves or more, and you can still have a voice type that is a voice type. You can be a contralto and have a huge range all the way up to a B flat 5, which is in the soprano range of choral music, but you're still a contralto. It has to do with where your voice is naturally comfortable singing in and what that sounds like. That's how you get your label. The exclusion to that is countertenors. Countertenors can mean one of two things. It can mean that it's a man who sings almost exclusively in falsetto register or falsetto voice, or it can mean a man whose comfortable range is in what is normally considered a female range. There are a lot of examples of that. Some of the examples are completely natural. They don't have any mutations or special things about their body, or the way that their body matured that would cause them to have such high voices. And then there are other examples of people who have female-sized voice boxes, and thus have female voices. But yeah, that's those are two different things. Yeah, so countertenors, that's really the only one that there's kind of a mix-up as far as voice types are concerned. But yes, again, altos. Altos, there's first and second altos. Altos, the general word altos, or the umbrella word, can refer to either a mezzo-soprano or a contralto. So you can be both. You can be an alto and be a contralto. You can be an alto and be a mezzo-soprano. One has to do with voice type labeling in the American choral school of music, and one has to do with the classical operatic school of music. They're two different things. Yes, okay? So I hope everybody learned something, and if you didn't like my video, I don't care. I never care. It's fine. You'll get used to it. And as always, don't be ignorant. I hope you guys had fun. I did too. Bye.